Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is Maverick Voices. I'm Patrick. Maverick Voices is a podcast for you, our MTC community, to share your story and your journey. This week, we are talking to Noemi. Noemi shares her story of being an international student, as well as how she balances work and life. So sit back and relax for this week's episode of Maverick Voices.
So, welcome to the Maverick Voices podcast. I am so excited to be here today with our second guest, Noemi Curson. I am Patrick Bennett, the Chief Diversity Officer at Minnesota College. And to remind you, our Maverick Voices podcast is designed to hear you, the voices of MTC from faculty, staff, and students. So, Noemi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Actually, I just came from an event at the school in service, and I'm really happy. I got to meet a lot of professors, which I've only seen online, so it was a big change for me. And yeah, I feel great. Thank you for asking.
That's wonderful. So, Noemi, give us a little bit of background about yourself before we dive in deep into our questions today.
Okay, I'm Noemi Corson, and I'm from the Philippines. I've only been here in the US for 3 years last August, and I have a toddler son, and I have ministries at the church, and I work with several organizations at the school.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, what motivated you to pursue higher education at MTC?
Actually, what motivated me to pursue higher education at MTC is my desire to have a career change and to uplift the kind of lifestyle that I have and my family has because, I'm from a poor family in the Philippines, and it is my desire not just to help myself, but the people around me.
So, how did you? So, you said you came in the United States 3 years ago. So, how did you end up here? What brought you here? I know that you said
Oh,
education, but what brought you here 3 years ago? I'm just curious.
okay. I met my husband at a mission in the
Oh,
Philippines, and we got to know each other. And then when we decided it's time for us to like move it in a different level, he proposed to me, and we decided that it's best if we be together. I had to quit my teaching job in a public school in the Philippines, and he brought me here.
oh, wonderful, wonderful. So, you used to be a teacher then.
Yes, I was a teacher, a high school teacher actually.
Oh, wow. So I know we're talking about MTC, but let's pause for a second right there. So how was that being a high school teacher in the Philippines compared to, going to school here? Or just you can just talk a little about that experience being a high school teacher in the
I'm
Philippines.
I'm amazed actually because I thought that the things that I see in movies are just in movies, like fiction. But I attended MTC, and I didn't know that I can be a part of like Phi Theta Kappa organization because I thought those were just things on movies that can happen on movies. And then I got here, and my eyes I was introduced to a lot of organizations, and I get to meet a lot of people. And when I was teaching in the Philippines, we have a very limited resources. Internet is super slow. Most of my students have to like swim across a river sometimes to get
Oh,
into the
wow.
school. Yeah. So
Mm.
when I went to MTC, I was telling my husband like, man, I felt like I'm in a haven. Like it's like the perfect school for me. It has everything I need, and I just wish a lot of my fellow Filipinos or my students would experience this kind of treatment that I received from MTC.
Okay. So you kind of
So,
touched on it a little bit, but can you describe like when you first stepped into the campus, on the campus or in the classroom, what were you feeling like when you came to MTC? What was your first initial feelings?
actually, to be honest, I was afraid. I was scared. I'm like, what if they don't understand me? My problem, my worry actually is my language because sometimes we pronounce things differently. And even my husband, sometimes at first, he was having a hard time understanding me. And I'm like, should I just shut up? But there were questions in the class, and I wasn't sure whether I should answer because I'm afraid of being humiliated.
Mhm.
So I was hesitant at first, but I met one of an advisor in MTC, and she told me, "Don't be afraid, just open up. You'll get to realize that they'll accept you for who you are." And I did that, and yeah, indeed, I was really surprised. Nobody laughed at me. So because in my country, if you committed like wrong grammar or mistake in pronouncing things, they would laugh at you. But here, they were very understanding. So I'm most grateful for that.
Well, no, I mean, we're in the South. We mispronounce things all the time and say things in totally different ways. So we can't laugh at you for if you mispronounce something because we mispronounce things all the time down here in the South. So what are some benefits of attending a community college in your opinion?
Attending a community college is more affordable than any alternative choices that I have considered without compromising the quality of education that I have received. Actually, attending MTC allows me to study more near my home without having the need to relocate, considering I have a child and my husband is working near us. And it's one of the best thing that um, I can say is that I was able to complete my pre-nursing courses entirely online.
Oh wow,
Yes.
wonderful. So getting that pre-nursing element is that is that your specific career goal or path now that you're at MTC is to go into the nursing program and why?
Yes. So I've always wanted to be a nurse, but my parents can't afford me to send me to school. So I have to get a course that would enable me to, just to have a degree. But when I got here in the US, I said I wanted a career change because I've always wanted to be a nurse. And then they say everything here is expensive when it comes to school. But someone introduced me to MTC, and when I enrolled, I was willing to work as work part time and be a student, work two jobs. I don't mind. But then MTC surprised me because of the zero tuition.
Mm,
All throughout my pre nursing, I didn't pay any tuition. I got book allowance. I've got a lot of scholarships. So said, wow, this is a great opportunity to pursue the career that I want. Because I've always wanted to be a nurse anesthetics actually, and or a nurse practitioner. So yeah, I wanted to become a nurse because both of my parents are very sickly. They suffer
yeah.
in chronic medical condition that require constant treatment and help. And I wanted to help them and others who experience the same things as them. So I wanted to be a nurse.
That's wonderful. We always need more nurses in South Carolina, and that own personal connection, I think, will make you even a great nurse when you get your, I think it's ADN. I think it's ADN. A-
Yes.
So you mentioned earlier about the different organizations that you are involved in MTC. Can you name a couple of those organizations? And I know it's hard to pick, but which one is your favorite organization to be in on campus?
Okay. I'm a member of the NSLS, the National Society for Leadership and Success, and Phi Theta Kappa. But my favorite is me being an ambassador because at first I was, I mean, what's the title? Ambassador. I feel like it has a lot of responsibilities, but
It sounds so formal, so formal, ambassador, right?
yeah, it sounded so formal. But yeah, being an ambassador is my favorite because I got to meet a lot of people from students to higher ups. And I thought before that presidents and all those higher ups are only seen, from a distance, but when to get to talk to them, shake their hands, hug them, and get to attend events that are for um, certain groups of people and I get to attend them, I'm just so blessed and privileged to have experienced all of those.
That's wonderful. You know, our student ambassadors are a great representation represents our campus very well. And I got to meet you initially through our student ambassador program, being a team diversity officer. So what I want to kind of change our conversation, talk a little about the classroom a little bit. So can
Mhm.
you name a particularly memorable class or a professor that really has shaped you while you've been at MTC?
Oh, that's actually surprising because I met my favorite teacher face to face
Oh,
today.
really? Wow. Yes.
So I was serving coffee at the in-service, and then I'm like, wait, that's Dr. Geraldine Lopez. That's my favorite teacher. And without thinking twice, I ran to her and I was like, Dr. Geraldine. And then I'm surprised because she said, oh, it's me. It's me.
Oh,
Then I got to hug her, and I love her because during my entire microbiology class, she never failed to reach out to students like me, foreign students, all sort of students, and she always find ways to like impart knowledge even when she's sick or even when the weather is not good. She's readily available to offer help, and his love, his passion for teaching is just very contagious. With the way she speaks, it's very contagious. You can tell that she really loves microbiology, and her passion for that encouraged me to love microbiology as well. It was a very difficult subject, but
you know, I never took microbiology, but I know you said Dr. Lopez, right?
yeah,
I know her. I know she really made it interesting, and it's really. And you took your classes online, right?
yes,
So it's even better that she was able to make a connection with you online, right? Because that's so difficult. Sometimes when you take online classes, it's like to really know your professor. I think we got to shout out Dr. Lopez. So I hope she's listening to this podcast right
yes.
now, and we'll shout her out because she has done a great job and really was impactful to you. So we want to shout out Dr. Lopez right now on our podcast. So I want to turn to you mentioned earlier you have a toddler. Is it a boy or a girl?
A boy.
How old is he?
He's 2 years old, and I'm expecting right now. Actually,
Oh,
thank
congratulations.
you.
Congratulations. That is
You.
wonderful. We're breaking news here on the Maverick Voices podcast. So whenever this comes out, we know Noemi will be further along or she will be having her child. I don't know when the baby's due. Um, but I want to change the conversation. You about to have another kid. So let's talk about how do you balance your academic commitments with your responsibilities that you have in your life currently?
Well, honestly, it's very challenging and overwhelming to balance my academics and my role as a mom, as a wife, but it's purely the grace of God, seriously. And my setup now is during the day, I put all my focus on my toddler and the household chores. But because my husband works during the day, but when he arrives, I dedicate my evenings and the rest of the time that I have doing my assignments, my exams, reviewing. And I make sure to um, split my time between family and my studies. I don't want to neglect any of those, but I make sure to spend like at least one whole day of quality time with God and my husband and son.
Mm. That's a really good statement that you just made right there for those that who are religious, right? Having
Thank
that
you.
that background, that solid foundation spiritually, whatever you believe
Yes,
in, can really, keep you grounded, right? And get you through those
exactly.
rough times, right? So we know
Mm-hmm.
you taking microbiology, those anatomy and physiology classes. We know those are some of our toughest classes, You gotta have that support of your husband, your partner, as well as having whatever higher being you believe in, right? So I think
Yes,
that's a wonderful thing to share with all of us at large. So really, I really appreciate you sharing that, Noemi.
thank you.
Mm. So what strategies or resources, let's turn our conversation something a little different, have you found most helpful in achieving your academic goals? So you kind of talk a little about balancing out. Any other strategies or goals you've really found to help balance and achieve your academic goals?
Probably my favorite is the online tutor available in MTC. I'm surprised that you can get that for free. And I'm like, man, these are very intelligent individuals and they're willing to give their time. And I utilize that and it helped me a lot, especially with my probability and statistics.
Mm,
and also the e-lib where you can browse a lot of resources that's not available in the library, the physical library. And I get to um, what else? The career advisement. They're not only there for me to advise me with my career choices, but they were also there to help me get through my personal issues in life, and the counseling. I love the counseling department too.
that's wonderful. So all those resources are really available, to everyone at the college. So appreciate you highlighting each of those resources, right? Because I know a lot of students don't take advantage of those resources that we have, especially when they may be going through tough times, either
Mm,
academically or personally, right? We at the college are here for everyone, right? And my office
yes.
is as well. I'm a resource as well. So thank you for sharing that, Noemi. So you kind of touched on a little bit earlier. What challenges have you faced in pursuing your educational goals, and how have you overcome them? I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit more or be more specific, but what challenges have you faced? I know you talked about moving 3 years ago
Mm.
here. I don't know if you want to elaborate more on that, but what are some challenges that you face in your educational journey?
At first, when I first entered MTC, I was having a hard time because I'm not used to doing online classes. I've always done face to face. Um, but thankfully, they do this virtual backpack and all they teach you step by step how to do it, and I was able to navigate through the college requirements and everything through it. And actually, the challenge that I've really had is with my probability and stuff. I really had a hard time because I'm the type of student who needs someone to explain to me how to do it and show me.
Right.
And doing it online is like, doing it yourself. But my husband has been there as a tutor for me, and then he helped me browse other resources in MTC, and then he helped me schedule online tutors in MTC, which is very amazing because you can get it in Batesburg in different locations, and it's amazing. And knowing your priorities help a lot. Don't get distracted. You know, prioritize your God and then your family and then studies. And if you have ample time, then don't forget to give yourself a rest as well because it helps a
Mhm.
lot.
That self-care is so very important, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Even though you're a mother, a wife, sometimes you just gotta get a little silent time with yourself, right? Sometimes it helps
exactly.
you recover in a lot of ways.
Yes, exactly.
Um, so what are your plans for after MTC, after you get your nursing degree? I know you're about to have a child a little soon. So that kind of threw a wrench into your plans a little bit probably. But what are your plans once you graduate from MTC?
I'll get my ADN in MTC, and after that, I'm planning on transferring to a 4 year. I mean, in like University of South Carolina to pursue my bachelor's in nursing, so that I told you a while ago that I want to be a nurse anesthetist or a nurse practitioner, and I have found that MTC in connection with the USC they do transfer of units, and so yeah, I want to go to USC to pursue my BSN.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. So you will be one day in South Carolina serving one of our many, many citizens of South Carolina. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So what advice would you consider to give other students if as they consider MTC as an option?
Um, if you consider MTC, go for it. Don't doubt because MTC is the kind of school that gives you the support, the resources you need to successfully navigate through your college journey. MTC doesn't lack anything when it comes to resources. When it comes to staff and faculty, they're all friendly and you can just approach them. The success of your college journey depends on your willingness to brave the world and to mingle with the staff. You don't have to be afraid or hesitant because they are there, and the resources are always there. It's up to you whether you want to take that or not. So go for MTC. Besides, man, MTC offers a lot of scholarship, financial aids to help you get through, so you don't really have to burden yourself with the worry of how am I going to pay this or not.
Noemi, that's a wonderful advice that you would give our future students. As we come to a close on our podcast episode today, I want to just ask you anything else that you would like to share about, your journey as a student or your journey at MTC, in closing that you think would be beneficial. I know we kind of just talked about it a minute ago, but anything else that you think would be inspiring or helpful to our students, faculty, or staff?
Being a foreigner, I mean, I'm relatively new in this country, especially in an American school. But don't be scared. Don't let your fear and anxiety of what the future has stop you from pursuing your dreams in life. Nothing is impossible if you have the willingness and the desire to do it. And always remember that, God will not bring you to a place where His grace is not readily available.
Mhm.
And I believe God put me in MTC for a reason. And I believe that reason is to use me for greater good. Because I feel like, man, I'm living the best year of my life right now because I get to experience things and I get to serve as well. It's about giving. In MTC, I experience giving and receiving, which is really, really good. And it just feels so great to be serving the MTC students and the staff. And I'm so blessed to be a part of the Mavericks, really.
And with that, we will wrap up our second episode of the Maverick Voices podcast. I want to thank Noemi Curson
Thank you, Stu.
for being here today. She really left us on a high note, and I look forward to our next guest on our next episode of the Maverick Voices podcast. So for now, I'll see you later, and I'll talk to you soon. Go Mavericks.